It was a calm night in Los Angeles on June 12, 1994, when the city was shocked by a tragedy that would capture the world's attention. Nicole Brown Simpson, the ex-wife of a famous football star, and her friend Ronald Goldman were found murdered outside her condominium in Brentwood. The violent loss stunned neighbors and sparked questions that have lingered for decades. Who could commit such a crime, and why? The answers were not simple, and the events that followed would become one of the most infamous legal sagas in American history. O.J. Simpson, a celebrated former NFL player and household name, quickly became the center of the investigation. Simpson had divorced Nicole 2 years prior, in 1992, yet their lives remained deeply connected. Reports of prior domestic conflicts, jealousy, and volatile behavior painted a troubling picture, making him the primary suspect. The investigation focused on his relationship with Nicole and his actions on the night of the murders, as authorities sought to piece together what had happened in the quiet Los Angeles neighborhood. 5 days after the murders, Simpson made headlines for a dramatic event that riveted the nation. Rather than turning himself into the police, he fled in a white Ford Bronco with his friend A.C. Cowlings behind the wheel. The chase was slow and tense, lasting more than an hour, but it was broadcast live on national television. Millions of viewers watched as law enforcement followed him through the streets of Los Angeles. Supporters lined the roads, waving and cheering, while the nation held its collective breath. When the pursuit ended at Simpson's Brentwood home, he surrendered peacefully, but the spectacle had already made history. The criminal trial that followed in 1995 became a media sensation. Courtrooms were filled with journalists and cameras, capturing every moment of testimony, cross-examination, and courtroom drama. The prosecution presented detailed forensic evidence, including DNA analysis, blood spatter patterns, and items found at the crime scene and in Simpson's vehicle. Every detail was scrutinized, from the trajectory of bloodstains to the timing of Simpson's movements that night. Experts explained how the evidence connected him to the murders, while the defense raised questions about police procedures and the handling of forensic material. Individuals close to Nicole Brown Simpson were also mentioned during the case, though official records never implicated them. Faye Resnick, Nicole's friend and confidant, was known to have personal struggles at the time and was briefly in the public eye for speculation, but investigators and court findings confirmed she had no role in the crime. Her name occasionally arose in discussions about motive, yet there was no credible evidence linking her to the events. Legal focus remained on Simpson, whose actions, history, and opportunity were central to the case. Emotion ran high throughout the trial. Family members, friends, and the public experienced shock, grief, and anger as the story unfolded. Forensic evidence played a pivotal role, demonstrating Simpson's presence at the scene and contradictions in his statements. Witnesses described prior threats and patterns of behavior, painting a portrait of a man struggling with control, jealousy, and rage. The courtroom became a space where science, law, and human emotion intersected, and every day brought new revelations that kept the nation riveted. Despite the weight of evidence, the jury reached a verdict of not guilty. It is important to note that an acquittal in criminal court does not equate to proof of innocence. It reflects the jury's determination that the prosecution did not meet the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The verdict sparked intense debate nationwide. Some were outraged, convinced the evidence was overwhelming, while others saw it as a reflection of deeper systemic issues in the justice system. Race, celebrity status, and media influence all played roles in shaping public perception, creating a divide that remains a topic of discussion today. Civil proceedings offered another layer to the story. In a wrongful death lawsuit, Simpson was found financially liable for the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Families received compensation, but emotional closure remained elusive for many. The contrast between criminal acquittal and civil liability highlighted the complexity of legal standards and reminded the public that law and societal perception often move on different timelines. The case became a lasting example of how justice can take multiple forms and how legal outcomes do not always satisfy emotional expectations. Controversy surrounding the case has persisted for decades. Some question the involvement of peripheral figures or entertained alternative motives, but investigations and court documents consistently supported Simpson as the primary actor. Law enforcement noted procedural errors, but forensic evidence and witness accounts consistently connected Simpson to the crime. Ethical questions arose about public commentary, media portrayal, and the treatment of victims. The case forced society to confront the tension between public curiosity and responsibility, between narrative appeal and verified fact. The Simpson case also offered a broader view into cultural and social dynamics. It became a lens through which Americans examined celebrity influence, race, and the justice system. Media coverage amplified every detail, transforming courtroom proceedings into national spectacle. The public's fascination reflected both the appetite for drama and the challenge of understanding complex human behavior. Ethical considerations emerged around protecting victims' dignity and ensuring due process, demonstrating the delicate balance between transparency and responsible reporting. The trial highlighted the challenges faced by law enforcement and forensic science. Mistakes in evidence handling raised questions, but the strength of scientific analysis reinforced the reliability of the findings connecting Simpson to the murders. This juxtaposition of human error and forensic certainty offered lessons for investigators, legal professionals, and the public alike. The case revealed how meticulous, methodical work is essential in high-profile investigations and how missteps can shape perception, if not outcomes. Emotional narratives were central to public engagement. Families sought answers, while speculation often intensified grief. Ethical responsibility demanded respect for victims and avoidance of unfounded accusations. The Simpson case highlighted the danger of sensationalized storytelling and the importance of relying on evidence over rumor. It underscored how society seeks simple explanations in complex situations and how public reaction can shape long-term narratives. Decades later, the O.J. Simpson case continues to provoke reflection. It challenges Americans to think critically about fame, media influence, and legal responsibility. While evidence and court records clearly link Simpson to the events of June 12, 1994, the case also illustrates how societal factors, emotional response, and media coverage intertwine to create lasting public fascination. It is a story not just of tragedy, but of law, ethics, and culture. As we remember Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, we are reminded that the human cost of crime is immeasurable. Their deaths led to legal battles, national debate, and ethical questions that remain relevant. The case teaches us about the importance of evidence, due process, and ethical reflection in the face of extraordinary circumstances. It asks us to consider not only who is responsible, but how we, as a society, respond to loss, celebrity, and justice. What do you think about this case? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe so we can uncover more stories together. This content is compiled and analyzed based on publicly available information and open discussions.